everyone, welcome to CSC Core Concepts in the series of computer networks. In this video, we are going to discuss two important protocols of the transport layer, namely UDP and the TCP protocol. So first, let us have a look at the UDP, that is User Datagram Protocol. So it is a way to send IP datagrams without establishing a connection. So basically in the transport layer, we transmit the segments which has a 8-byte header followed by the payload, that is the data part. Okay, so let us have a look at the header. So this is how it looks like. So this is a UDP packet, okay, UDP segment where it is divided into two parts. The first part is the UDP header which is of 8 bytes and the next part is the data part. Okay, that is the data which you want to transmit. So now two ports serve the identify the endpoints within the source and the destination machines. So when you want to send some data to the destination, you specify the port address, right? So that port is used to identify the endpoints. So then when a UDP packet arrives, its payload, that is the data part, is handed to the attached destination port, and this attachment occurs when you use the bind primitive. So we have discussed about the the transport layer primitives in my earlier video. If you have not gone through the video, please do go through the video as to understand what are primitives. Now these ports can be considered as the mailboxes where the applications can send to and can rent to receive the packet. So when your data segment reaches to the destination layer, so where does it keeps that data? It keeps in the port address, whatever port, if it is HTTP, whether it is SMTP, whatever type of port it is going to keep. So you can consider the ports as the mailboxes. So these mailboxes are used to receive the packets. Now source port is primarily needed when a reply must be sent back to the source. Okay. So when you want to send again a reply, so in that case you require the source port. So now what happens is that, source port is required. Let's say the destination received its details, right? Received the data in the form of port. It was kept in the port, the data or the payload. So the destination received it. Now suppose the destination has to send, see basically it is a connection based protocol. You don't have acknowledgements and all. So if you want to send a data, let's say for you may send acknowledgement or you may send some other data, like say server client has requested some data or some information. Now when the destination wants to send that reply to the source, now it is a connectionless protocol. So no connection is established, no exclusive connection is established between the source and the destination. So now in this case, what will the destination do is that it will copy the source port field from the incoming segment. So whatever segment has come to the destination, from that segment it will take that source port address, it will copy and paste it when it is sending a reply in the destination port. So it knows that where it has to send the reply. It is something like from where the phone has come, you just copy that phone number and again you call back. Okay, suppose an unknown phone has called, the number is not saved in your mobile. So what do you do? So that call has come, so you talk. Now suppose if you have to send a message to that number, right? So you copy that number and you send that message as a to address, right? So this is what the UDP packet also does. So the UDP length, we have seen that the field has two parts, that is the header and the data. So the length field includes 8-byte header and the data. So the minimum length is 8 bytes to cover the header if there is no data. So what are the contents in this UDP header? So the UDP header contains your source port address, source port, the destination port, the length and the checksum. 4 fields are there. So let us understand each one of them. So first is the source port. So basically it is a 16-bit field, or you can say 2-byte field, that identifies the port number of the application who is sending the data. So this is used to direct the replies. Next comes your destination, to whom are you sending, that is again a 16-bit field. So what is application, port number of the application on the destination host. Then comes your length field. Length is again a 16-bit field that specifies the total length of the UDP packet, UDP segment header plus the data payload. Okay, the total size, because this data payload is what? Variable length. 8 bytes, this one is fixed, right? But this is what? This is also not fixed. I will come to it. So UDP, this data plus the header, whatever is the total length, that is given in the length field. And then comes the checksum field. So this checksum is a 16-bit field which is used for error detection, we have discussed earlier. Now since this is a connectionless protocol, you are not very much bothered about the error and the accuracy of the data. So this field is optional in case of UDP. You may go for error detection techniques, you may avoid it also. So in IP version 4 specifically it is optional, and if you have no checksum field, then you can put the value 0 in this case. Next we go to the connection oriented protocol, that is the TCP, that is called as the transmission control protocol. So this protocol provides a reliable end-to-end byte stream over the unreliable internet. So internet is unreliable, anything can happen, congestion, packet garbling, collision, many things. So it is an unreliable network. So this within this unreliable network, TCP provides a reliable connection. So the TCP entity accepts user data streams from local process, breaks into pieces, and each size cannot be more than 64 bits, and sends the packet as a separate IP datagram. Now, when the datagrams containing TCP arrive at any machine, okay, that is at the destination, they will reconstruct the original stream because it has broken down into IP datagrams. The IP Internet Protocol is a protocol of which layer? Of the network layer, right? So it gives no guarantee that the datagrams will be delivered properly. IP has been told that you have to send this data to so and so address. That's it. It does not guarantee that it will be delivered properly, or it does not tell that how fast it will be sent. So this work has to be done by the TCP. So TCP will send datagrams fast enough so as to make use of capacity. TCP will control the flow. Understood? So that you are not underutilizing the bandwidth, that the bandwidth is idle for a long time. It is going smoothly. Neither you are sending very, very fast so as to cause a congestion. So this flow control is with the TCP. And to time out and retransmit in case of any time out of the packet, then you have to retransmit the packet. So who will check on this? The TCP protocol will check on this. And the datagrams that do not arrive may well do so in the wrong order that do arrive. Now let's say you have sent 100 segments. Now each segment will have a different time of receiving, of getting to the destination port, right? So now it can be anything, like the first packet came, then came the 10th one and all. So they are not in a order. So it is the work of TCP to reassemble them into the proper sequence in which they are to be kept. Now example, let's say for example, when a user requests a web page on the internet, how do you request a web page? You open the browser and in the address bar, you will type a URL, right? So what is the prefix you use? HTTP. That means the web page loading is done by the HTTP protocol of the application layer. So the server process that requests and sends back the HTML page to the user. So the server makes use of the protocol which we called as the HTTP protocol. So the HTTP sends request to the TCP layer to set the required connection and send the HTML file. So the server makes use of which protocol? HTTP. It is the application layer protocol. So this request, HTTP request, is forwarded to the TCP layer, and it understood that okay, I have to set up the connection and I have to send the HTML file to the web browser. So now this request which you have made, okay, using the URL and all, so this request is broken into small packets and it is forwarded to the protocol. Which protocol? Internet protocol. So with the help of internet protocol of the network layer and the routing decisions, the packets are sent to the destination through different routes. Now on the TCP layer in the user system is waiting. Okay, still it is waiting for the transmission to get finished and acknowledges once all packets have been received. So on the destination side, it is acknowledging, it is waiting, and once the HTML page is given to the web browser, so it will acknowledge that yes, the whole page is loaded, that is all packets are received. So the TCP service is obtained by both the sender and the receiver. Both of them are using this TCP service. Now this TCP service can be availed using endpoints which are called as sockets. So each socket, every socket has a socket address, that is the number. The address contains of the IP address of the host and the 16-bit local to the number that is local to the host, which is called as the port address. So the socket contains the IP address plus the port address, that is which destination address IP and which port you want to use, right? So for TCP service to be obtained, a connection must be explicitly established between the socket on the sender's machine and socket on the receiver's machine. So both sockets should be explicitly connected. So this is what is difference between the TCP and the UDP. There you don't have to establish any connection. Now socket can be connected on point-to-point basis, that is one sender, one receiver, or if you have multiple receivers, you can have multiple connections at the same time. So these are some of the popular port and the common port addresses. That 2021 is for file transfer, 22 is for remote login replacement for telnet. Then you have 25 is the HTTP, SMTP, 80 is the HTTP, 110 is POP3. So these are some of the popular port addresses. So this is how does your TCP header looks like. So let us have a look at the TCP header and the components of the TCP header. So our TCP header looks like that. There is a header part and there is some data part. Now this header part is this, so many things it contains. It contains the source port address, the destination port address, the sequence number, acknowledgement number. So let us see one by one. So source port address is obviously the port of the application which is sending the data. So it contains the source port address. So if you are talking about HTTP, you will have 80 port address and so on, which is 16 bits. Similarly, the destination on the receiving side, what is the port you are asking for? So that address. Then comes the sequence number, is the sequence number of the data bytes in the particular session. So because it is a connection oriented, means a session is established between them. So what is the sequence number of that data bytes that is given as sequence number? Then the acknowledgement number, that is when acknowledgement flag is set, it contains the next sequence number. If you go back to the sliding window protocol, there we were sending acknowledgement 4. So acknowledgement 4 means what? The previous 3 has been received properly and we are ready to receive the 4th frame. So similarly, this acknowledgement number is set. So the segment number X means it responds that X plus 1 is the acknowledgement number. So if I am saying 5, that means I have received up to 4. Then the next field is the HLength field, that is the length of the header. So it is indicated by a 4-byte word. The size of the header is either between 20 to 60 bytes. So the field would lie between 5 to 15. Okay. Then comes your reserved. You can see here, yeah. So it was the HLength bit and then reserved, and then we will see some of the flag data, right? Bits, flag bits. So reserved is reserved for future use. Right now in IP4 we are not using anything, so their default value is 0. Then some of the flag control bits are there. There is one bit values. One is the urgent. Urgent represents an urgent pointer, that is if the data has to be processed very urgently, then this bit is set to 1. Then acknowledgement, if it is set to 0, it means the data packet does not contain an acknowledgement. If the packet is representing an acknowledgement, then it will contain 1. PSH means push. So if the data field is set, then it requests receiving device to push the data to the receiving application without buffering. Okay, don't buffer my data. Directly you give it to the destination. RST, it is to restart a connection in case of a connection failure. Sync is used to establish a connection between the two hosts. FIN, that is to finish, is used to release the connection, and after that no data exchange will happen. So these are your 6 flag variables. Then comes the window size, checksum, and the urgent pointer. So let's see what is window size. So it is a 16-bit field which contains the size of the data that receiver can accept. This field is used for flow control. So if you remember that in the sliding window, what is the window size? So at a time, how much data the receiver can accept. So it determines the buffer capacity of the receiver. Then comes your checksum. Obviously, in case of TCP, it is mandatory because it is a reliable connection. So you have to make sure that the transmission is error free. So it is used to get the checksum value. And finally, the urgent pointer, that is if you remember the urgent flag. So if it is set to 1, then it is then this field will point to the data which is very, very urgent. It defines the value that will add it to the sequence number to get the sequence number of the last urgent byte, which is the data which is very urgent. Then finally you have an options field which has so you can provide some additional options. It is represented in 32 bit. So if it contains data less than 32 bit, then you have to give some padding information to keep the header fixed size. So this is all about your TCP headers and what is about TCP and UDP and what is the difference between them. So if you understood, please do like the video and don't forget to share and subscribe to CSC Core Concepts. Thank you.